Hello, my cubby. Good evening. It's Eloy from Quailer 100. It is April 20. What's the date? Today's Friday, so let me just check the date real quick. 24th, and it's 5:57 in the evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to anyone wherever you are. Hopefully, this finds you well. So war in COVID-19, Los Angeles is going to be a hot one. So here's the update. It is there are over. Oh, why don't I just go there? So I apologize for a second. Let me just pull up the actual numbers so I can be a little more accurate. There are now, sad to say, 2.79 million confirmed cases of COVID. 82,101 were added today. I keep thinking, man, just a few weeks ago, there were less than 82,000 around the world. So that's crazy. 195,920 deaths. 5,062 were added today. As far as globally, some of the what's in the news is they're wondering where Putin is from Russia. Let's see, China. Out of China, there's really not much. So there's a lot of anger still directed towards China. But who has said that they did not create? It was created, and I think I mentioned that yesterday. Um, so just kind of a couple of numbers from the global. Well, it doesn't look like this one will actually give me a breakdown. Oh, here we go. United States, there are 890,524 confirmed cases, 51,017 deaths. Spain is 219,764,000 confirmed cases, 22,525 deaths. Italy has got 192,994, 25,969,000 deaths. France has 159,495, 22,278,000 deaths. Germany has 154,545, 5,723,000 deaths. And the United Kingdom has 144,635,000 cases with 19,566 cases. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that looks like the G. Those are the 6 out of the G7. I think. Those are the countries that are in G7, right? And I think the 7th country is China, and China has very few cases. Wonder why that is. So that's what's going on worldwide as far as this COVID. Some are relaxing their restrictions, whereas New Zealand, which is a small country, which probably not a lot of developed nations can mimic, but it looks like they're extending their restrictions. So the United States, as I mentioned, those are the stats. Haven't been listening much to the news, or at least I don't see as much as I did regarding California. So they're thinking that the first death so far recorded may have been a 57-year-old healthy woman who died around, I think, February, the first or second week of February, which predates the deaths in Washington. So she's from Santa Clara County in the Northern California area. In New York, I guess they don't need as many ventilators. I heard they still have a lot of cases. And Las Vegas, they're thinking of opening the casinos without any set plan. So as far as California goes, there are about 27 oil tankers lined up outside California, and I hope we don't have a tsunami or any major crisis, because that would be a real disaster. And I hope nobody gets any ideas from what I just said. Well, if I thought it, 1,000 people probably already thought. Still a lot of restrictions. There's some opening of beaches. Ventura County is going to open a beach at Park. It's Port Wainimi Beach, but they're they're restricting it to Ventura County residents, and they're not encouraging LA County residents. So basically, they're saying stay home, stay away from our beach. And even though it's opening, the parking lots are going to be closed. At least a major, most of them are. And you can't be staying in one place. You have to be mobile. You have to keep moving. The pier is closed. So otherwise, all the other, I think the LA County beaches may be open. And it turns out that 80% of the population, at least those surveyed, support continued restrictions and closures of a lot of these places. So that's kind of it regarding that. The neighborhood, it's kind of up and down. So today there's not as many out, and the traffic wasn't really as heavy as yesterday or the day before. But it's a little lighter today. And this may be an advertising, but thank you to McDonald's. I actually enjoyed their thank you meal, and actually, McDonald's had with participating restaurants, the participating McDonald's restaurants, they are actually giving out free meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where you have these choices of a meal, excuse me, and beverage. 6 o'clock. So thank you, McDonald's, and participating restaurants. My internet. Okay, so it said my internet was a little slowing down. So the other thing is that we have had sort of like a heat wave. It's been in the mid 90s, as I said yesterday. As far as yesterday goes, it's still in the mid 90s today. It's supposed to go down a few degrees to high 80s, and it's going to be a warm weekend. It was kind of windy earlier part of the day, but it's now died down. So it was actually kind of warm, still, and dry. So last night I had to have my fan on. Right now it's about 81 degrees inside the house, not turning the heater or air conditioner yet. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as work goes. Like I said, I had screened one person yesterday before my 4.5 hour shift. And so I sent her to the emergency room. Turns out she went to the emergency room. They re-triaged her and sent her home. She got a phone call today, and she said she mentioned that she wasn't checked, and so kind of gave a warm handoff. Just kind of cautious with patients, but it turns out so I'm actually covering for another provider, and they there was a message that she wanted that the wife of a patient wanted to talk to a provider, to the patient's provider. So I called and I talked to the patient's spouse, and she just went on and said, "Oh, my husband, he was in a lot of pain, and he had abdominal pain. I think it's his gallbladder. He was in excruciating pain. I think it might be the gallbladder because he had a problem with gallbladder and appendix before." You got to remind you that this patient is like 81, so his wife is probably just as old or maybe late 70s. She sounded like she was older than 80 anyway. But actually, you know what? I think that actually she sounded like a little kid, kind of like a squeaky, little kid. But then I guess this is what this anyone this wife of the patient sounded like. So she was saying, "Oh yeah, he was in so much pain. He was doubled over. I didn't know what to do." So she said she called 911. 911 came, and they said, "Well, you probably don't want to take him to the hospital because he might catch something and die." And so the patient's wife just said, she says, "I just can't, I just can't see him in pain. I think he needed to go." And I think she just wanted reassurance. And I guess the reason why I'm saying this is that that's what it's come down to, is that these paramedics, if you're old and if you're they're thinking that this is severe, that they're not going to take you to the hospital, and I guess that must have been a directive, either that or they're really going beyond their scope. But it seems like 911 is really encouraging you not to bring your loved one to the hospital based on age, and even though the guy sounded like he was in so much pain. And so, I said, I said, it sounds like you did the right thing. And I think that's what she just needed, just a reassurance. It's, I just can't, I think there are going to be a lot of deaths, not related to COVID. And I think this is part of, these are some of the ones that are going to actually unnecessarily die. People, because patients like her, I mean, with the wife, she was feeling bad that the paramedics were saying, no, 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 he shouldn't go because he could die there and he could get something, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, wow, wow, this is, there's this person who's in pain and he may or may not uh, die, but to just leave him at home and have a painful death, to me is just, it's just not right. I mean, I think even though there's COVID going around, and a lot of people are probably going to disagree. Well, that's fine. The thing is that there's still room for very sick people who don't have COVID. I understand that COVID's it's very deadly, but come on, this guy could be having a peritonitis and he could be saved. And I told her, it sounds like you did the right thing, and she felt relieved and comforted by that. And so I told her that I was going to have her talk to the patient's provider on Monday. And so I alerted the provider. I said, hey, you should talk to this person. So yeah, so she was appreciative, and I think it's the least you can do to families, because I just, it comes to, do I agree with what the paramedics said? No, I don't. Do I think that they had to say it? Well, that's probably what they were directed to do. And do I think the wife did the right thing? I think she did. Do I think that somebody will think I'm wrong? Yeah, I think there's somebody will wrong. It's about opinion. I think there, as deadly as COVID is, there are people that don't need to die. I think that there are people that can be saved. Can this patient get COVID? Yeah, he can get COVID. But what if he's the person that's going to recover from COVID? So there's going to be a lot of ethical stuff like that. And I just think, it's do no harm. And I think that, even though this individual is 81%, I mean, who wants to stay their loved one die a miserable, prolonged death, right? So, anywho, so that's that. Otherwise, just a lot of people who actually I actually had a patient call in, and he had a lot of positive things to say about how his life has changed with COVID. That even though he doesn't go to the gym, he's finding time to exercise and read the Bible, and this is actually making him feel better. And I said, yeah. He says I had to be creative. I said, well, I said, do you know what that was called a few years ago? He said, what? I said, common sense. We need to take time. I think this COVID is allowing us to just like slow it down, slow down and just kind of like do what you have to do. You don't really need a lot of these things. And so, yeah, I think that's one positive thing that hopefully comes out with this. For every bad, there's good. You may or may not disagree with that. And if you don't, you can explain in the comment below. Otherwise, that's my update for this week. And like I said, it's getting hot. And, I hope it's just the weather. And I hope the coronavirus cases start going down, fewer people are dying, and hopefully we get to return to normalcy really soon. So, with that, have a good night, take care, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Bye for now.